In this hour, very, very fortunate to have joining me here in studio Mark Beer, and he's the CEO and chairman of the British Business Group. Mark, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, James.
It's a little bit of a different context, isn't it? It's it's far from the business breakfast. And the best part about this hour of the night is Malcolm and Brandy are sound asleep. So if you've got anything you want to say about them that you've always wanted to say on air, this is the time to do it.
Thank you.
That's a good tight-lipped.
Maybe later.
I got a question. We're going to talk about the BBG. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about facilitating business here in the Emirates, not just from the context of British business, but others in general terms. But I'm curious, how did you get into this? Because, as I was going through what you do, you've got a day job, then you're working with the BBG, and your background is rather interesting. How did you get here to Dubai? How did this happen?
Well,
we got an hour, so.
Well, I was going to say it might take two. Dubai was back in 1997, and my wife is Bulgarian but brought up in the US.
Okay.
And she came to university where I was for a year, and that's where we met. I went off to law school in York. She went back to Georgetown, where she finished off her year. We spent a lot of time together. And when we came back together, we started work for a very good family friend in a legal business that he was involved in.
Okay.
And he sent me off to the US and so on and so forth. We did all that. Great. And then after 2 or 3 years, Addie, my wife, said, well, listen, I think we should go abroad. We'd get some more experience. So I chatted to a friend in London who spoke to a headhunter who called me on a Monday. Right?
Really? Okay.
On a Monday, and said, where do you want to go? I said, where can I go? He said, well, you can go to Hong Kong, you can go to Singapore, you can go, because I studied Russian, you can go to Moscow, you can go to these various places.
You speak fluent Russian?
Da.
Fantastic.
Don't push me. And he said, oh, you can go to Dubai.
Uh-huh.
I said, where's that? He said, you're joking? I said, no, honestly, it's 1990.
I thought you were joking.
No, 1997, and Dubai, if you remember, 1997 wasn't on the radar.
Yeah.
Okay? So he said, if you haven't been, you must go on a Thursday. So I said, which Thursday? He said, this Thursday. So he told me about the job. He told me it was fantastic. He told me about the company yacht and all of this. I said, well, I'm sold. So I flew out on the Thursday morning. I had a weekend with the person whose job I was eventually taking over.
Uh-huh.
He knew about it.
And, can you imagine?
And I sat down with the senior partner of the law firm on the Saturday morning, because we worked on Saturdays in those days.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I said, I'm really excited. I love Dubai. I love the energy. I love the vibrancy, and we would love to work here. And he said, great. I said, so just tell me this package. I mean, it's extraordinary. He said, what package? I said, the yacht and everything. He said, okay, I think we have to have a serious chat. There was no yacht. But anyway, we went back, and Addie was working with Barclays at the time. She managed to get a transfer. We moved out to Dubai, and we've never looked back. It's been really a remarkable experience to watch the evolution of Dubai and the UAE during that time.
It has been extraordinary, the pace of things and the ups and downs. I think that's part of the natural life cycle of any environment. And here, it just happens so fast.
It's extraordinary what we see here. And if you think about working here, we get greater exposure at a much earlier stage to much greater responsibility. I mean, if you are able to seize opportunity, and if you're passionate about making a difference, you have much greater chance of doing it here than you do, in my case, back in the UK.
Do you think people realize that, or I mean, some do. I mean, you do, I do. But do you think, generally speaking, people who are here or happening on Dubai realize that sort of hidden piece or shadowed piece of what you can get in this environment?
Well, no one's forced to live and work here.
Yeah.
And I think if people live in a society and they don't want to get as much out of it as they possibly can and give back as much of it as they possibly can, and I suppose this links into the BBG, it's not about taking. If you just take in life, then you're never going to be satisfied. But if you can take and give back, and this is what Dubai offers, then you'll have a wonderful time. And if people don't see that, if they don't see that opportunity, if they aren't in a position here where they can give and take, then there are many other places around the world where they might find that opportunity. But people aren't wedded to any particular place. And I think that we've been very lucky as a family. We've been very lucky in our time here, and we wanted to give as much back as we could. And the BBG is a good example of that because, as you say, it's voluntary. It's a voluntary committee. It takes a huge amount of time outside.
Well, I was trying to figure out, just looking at what the BBG does, and we'll talk about the British Business Group when we come back. But it's extraordinary what's happening there, and the number of people who are involved. I mean, the BBG, this particular body, is the largest of its kind in when we talk about promoting business out of the UK. This is the largest of its kind in the world. Here.
Well, it gets better. It is, and it just won the best in the world.
The best in the world as well. The largest and the best.
This is the best. You'll like this best.
Okay.
That was hugely rewarding. I've been the chairman now for 4 years, and everything that we've done is working towards that. So that was fabulous. But there's something even more fabulous.
All right.
We beat 2 places to win best in the world.
Who'd you beat?
Second place, Shanghai.
Okay.
Now remember, this was done at a time when Dubai in the press around the world was on its knees,
taking
reports
a beating.
of it, deaths, terrible, right? And we beat Shanghai, which was meant to be the bee's knees. But, and I shouldn't say this on radio, but it gave me such pleasure. The third place, we beat the French. And for a Brit, that's absolutely wonderful.
You know what? I get that. I get a great email today from a Frenchman who's talking about the King's Speech, and he has some sentence in there which I was reading, going, huh? And he qualified it after, this is just again the French-English rivalry, talking about that the British could actually pull off a good film. And I'm going, what? And so it's like being in Canada-US rivalry back and forth.
Well, you know what's remarkable about Canada? How many days now without a government?
Yeah, well, no, we've got a government, sort of, kind of.
No, but I mean, what's the name? The country's continued, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
a
extraordinary
minority
place,
government.
Canada.
It's a minority government, but it's still there. It hasn't been. They haven't got an issue yet with Mr. Harper. It's coming up, maybe. We're talking about the British Business Group and beyond right here on the program. Lots more to come.
This is Nightline. Dubai Eye 103.8.
The British Business Group. What is this? What is it all about, Mark?
Oh, what isn't it? In
one
word.
What is, what it isn't. I mean, maybe that's the correct question. It's not what is it. What does it not do? I mean, it's staggering.
What it isn't is an exclusive old boys club aimed only at Brits living here in Dubai. That's what it isn't. What it is absolutely brilliant. However you want to define brilliant, it's absolutely brilliant. We are here to engage in dialogue with the UAE government. We're here to engage in dialogue with the UK government. The trade links between the two are very strong. But anyone who has an interest in business with the UK or between the UK and the UAE is more than welcome to come along. It's a remarkable thing. It's been going now, 24 years. It was the first one ever set up. I'll tell you a funny story. It was set up at a time when they didn't have any licensing for business groups because we were the first one.
Okay.
So we actually went to the Dubai Chamber and said, these are 2 people who are still in Dubai. Okay, so it gives you a sense of the longevity of the community. 2 people still in Dubai. And they went along and they said, we want to set up this club. And they said, that's a really good idea, but we don't have a license for you. So they said, well, can we just have one? They said, we've got this thing, a general trading license. Will that do? So they took it. Do you know how much that would be worth if we kept it? It allows you to do everything: construction, insurance, HR, everything. We'd be worth millions. But anyway, we gave it up, and that started back in 1987. And since then, it's grown and it's developed. And the idea is to promote. It's 3 things really to keep it simple. Number 1, knowledge. That is, when people come along, they should learn something. Number 2 is contacts and networking. They should meet people that will help them in their business. And number 3, they should have some fun. And those are the 3 things that I've focused on as chairman, and 3 things that the group does very, very well. And we hope to see you come along. We have a huge event on the 2nd of March at Jumeirah's new property on the Palm. We're celebrating 25 years of Emirates, and we really think it'll be a superb evening. You're welcome. Anyone's welcome. Just have a look at our website and sign up.
What's the website?
www.britbiz, with a Z, don't ask, britbiz-uae.com.
Very easy. So if we go back 25 years and we look at at this organization, how it's changed. I mean, you've been the chairman for 4 years. How do you see what's happened in your time and relating it back to where this organization has come from? What's been the big? It's almost like there's been a thought process change in a sense. Some of the mindset of how the group is operating has undergone a bit of a renovation. How do you see that?
No, I think it's the reason for its success, and the reason it's been announced as the best in the world is because it's always had a singularity of thought. It's always had a focus on promoting UK-UAE relations. It's always had a focus on how it does it, and it's kept it simple. It hasn't tried to complicate matters. It tries to teach people things, it tries to build contact bases, and it tries to do it in a convivial environment. And if you keep things simple, then it's easy for people to understand. They get it, they want to become a member. And then the more members, of course, the more participation. The more participation, the more energy and enthusiasm, and it builds like a snowball. And having been going
the simplicity, Mark, when you think simplicity, when I think lawyers and I think simplicity, those two words don't go together. You read the law, no law is written with this idea of keeping it simple. It's complex.
But you wouldn't need lawyers if you could read the law yourself. So the whole point of a lawyer is to read the complex law and to make it simple for you.
Yeah.
It's like a doctor. You don't go to a doctor in the view that he's going to explain what the book says. You go to the doctor to understand what you need to take to fix something. And it's the same with lawyers. Now, bad lawyers complicate things. Good lawyers simplify things.
And ultimately, this is what's helped this group really function, is that you've kept it simple on how to relate to the environment here in the UAE.
Thank you.
So if someone is looking in then and saying, okay, so we've got the group, it's keeping it simple, it's all about fostering these relationships, and as you said, it's not exclusive. Literally anyone could become part of the organization if they wanted to, and I've been on a focus group, and it was invigorating. It was absolutely invigorating. I keep hoping they're going to invite me back and do it again, because that was 6 months ago that we sat down and talked about new technologies and how that's having an impact on business. And the group had done some amazing research, and then a group of us, sat down and had a conversation. And 6 months is coming up. I'm hoping that there's going to be an invite back, because I'd love to see where things have gone.
Well, you know what we've done in those 6 months? In all seriousness, right?
Yeah.
We had this excellent meeting. We've recruited someone as a social media expert in the office. We've got an absolutely cracking website now, and we are totally socially media linked up. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, the lot, because it is the future of the way in which people will choose to receive information. And as a group, as an organization, if you don't look to the next 20 years and understand the way that the trend is moving, as we've learnt from the last 20 years, if you don't keep looking forward and understanding it and adapting to it, in Dubai particularly, you're moving backwards. So we're the first group to have entered fully into the social media world. We've also realized that Dubai is a hub.